This news update is brought to you by...
Don't you deserve a little me time? Play catch up and binge watch full seasons of your favorite TV shows. Available on video on demand from Flow. Simply press the VOD button on your Flow remote. This is how we do TV. This is how we flow.
This is the Barbados Today Afternoon Update for Wednesday, the 3rd day of February 2016. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Government is facing a multi-million-dollar problem in meeting the country's mounting healthcare costs. So says Chief Executive Officer of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, Dr. Dexter James, who revealed that the situation is being compounded by dwindling resources. He made the comments during the first of 3 town hall-style meetings intended to get the public's opinion on the way forward for financing healthcare on the island at the Princess Margaret Secondary School last night. With stack figures in hand, Dr. James revealed what it takes annually to treat persons for non-communicable diseases.
Today, $154 million thereabout is appropriated to the hospital. It actually costs close to 185, perhaps closer to $190 million to effectively discharge the package of services we currently provide. So the question always has to be, how do we finance the gap between what is appropriated and what it actually costs to run the hospital? The intuitive, easy response is, well, we should cut back services. And you know, when that question is posited to us, the question I ask, what services do we remove? Do we stop dialyzing 200 patients on hemodialysis, another 45 on peritoneal dialysis, and save maybe $15 million? Do we stop treating patients on various life-saving therapies and save maybe another $12 million?
Domestic violence is a scourge that must be eradicated from the Barbadian society. That's according to Prime Minister Frondell Stewart, who admits that the task will not be an easy one, but one that must be tackled nonetheless. He made the comments in his contribution to the debate on the Domestic Violence Amendment Bill 2016 yesterday.
Because the society that we've inherited, as R.R.S.P once said, the Right Excellent R.R.S.P in 1971, the society we have inherited bears within it many social contradictions which the material advantages that we have secured cannot alone eradicate. But we have to try as best we can to deal with these challenges. And these amendments are yet another attempt to deal with some of these challenges. I was very pleased to hear the recital of some of the more progressive pieces of legislation the Democratic Labour Party was able to pass as we try to deal with a lot of these social and economic contradictions.
In supporting the bill, Prime Minister Stewart said the legislation gives Barbados the push in the right direction.
It is a piece of legislation that can make our women sleep more comfortably at night, feel more comfortable in their homes, feel more comfortable as they leave their homes and walk around. They don't, even if they're stalked, they now know that they have the kind of redress that can bring them the kind of relief that they seek. It's very important.
Meantime, Education Minister Ronald Jones says the time has come for Barbadians to accept that gay relationships are part of society. Jones made it clear that residents must also accept that domestic abuse did not only relate to heterosexual relationships, and he says the situation of same-sex relationships can no longer be swept under the carpet.
We've heard too many stories and seen some evidence. Some persons got straddled by 2x3s across their shoulders and ending up in the casualty of our hospital. We have seen men chopped by other men. Women bite by other women. Well, you use whatever tool you have to inflict what pain you want. So I'm not pulling out or describing any particular instrument. All I'm speaking about is that the shadows must disappear with these relationships that exist. When a society hides itself and says, no, these things don't exist in it, we are opening another door for violence, domestic violence.
He says failure to accept that contemporary lifestyles in the country will result in an upsurge of domestic violence in gay relationships.
We know in our country that there are persons who now live together, who share resources, who have sexual intercourse or outer course or whatever course. We know that. And one is asking the question, I'm asking the question, will we have the same response and would they enjoy the coverage as that in what we call the historical heterosexual kinds of relationship out of which domestic violence can be generated if that same coverage would exist? I am not opening doors. I'm just creating peepholes. Others can open the door wider, but we cannot hide from contemporary reality.
That was Education Minister Ronald Jones speaking in Parliament yesterday.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
To news from the region now, and the Zika virus will be a major talking point when regional heads meet in Belize later this month for the intersessional summit. The Trinidad-based Caribbean Regional Public Health Agency will brief the heads on the virus, which is now a global health emergency, at the February 16 to 17 meeting. The virus has so far been confirmed in 5 CARICOM countries. The brief will give policy recommendations for strengthening national and regional action in the face of this threat. CARPHA maintains that the Caribbean needs to continue its coordinated response to the virus. Trinidad and Tobago's prison chief makes it clear that the state penitentiary is safe. The assurance comes after TV6 News broke the story that a plot by gang leaders behind bars had been foiled at the prison.
On the heels of a TV6 expose about a jailbreak plot uncovered by prisons officials, Prisons Commissioner Sterling Stewart is now saying he believes the Port of Spain prison is now free of destructive devices and weapons following Sunday's search by security forces in an operation codenamed Clean Sweep. But in doing so, he made no reference to what TV6 News revealed. Although we posed several questions to him via WhatsApp and left voicemail messages about the alleged plot, Commissioner Stewart has remained silent and didn't make any mention of it in a release issued today. Senior prison sources told TV6 News, however, that several prisons officers are fearful for their lives even before the alleged plot was brought to light, and some have decided to take extended leave.
That report from TV6 News. On the international front, Georgia today executed a 72-year-old man, its oldest death row inmate. Brandon Astor Jones was given a lethal injection in the early hours of this morning at a prison in Jackson. He was sentenced to the death penalty 36 years ago after being convicted of killing a shop manager during a robbery. His execution was delayed by several hours after his lawyers filed a last-minute appeal with the Supreme Court. Georgia has executed about 60 people since 1976 and has dozens of people on death row. And that story brings us to the end of our updates, but for the very latest, visit us on our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Also, subscribe to our e-paper, our email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 101 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good afternoon.